Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Let me again simply say that it's just nice to be with you. Nothing in a sense to really do except to be in your own goodness, to be in your own inner place, that place of the God Spirit where you are most at home. Just a joy to be with you, happy to share these moments with you, and happy to share them. Obviously, we can do this with each other. A couple of things just to mention. First of all, tomorrow evening, our Monday evening meditation, I'd like to welcome all of you to that from 7 to 8. It's a wonderful, wonderful evening. And then tonight, we also have a wonderful evening. Our topical conversation this evening will be on the update of the James Webb Space Telescope by John Shartle. And that'll be from 6 to 7:30 this evening. I invite you to join us. I think you'll find it quite interesting. We always have a very lively discussion. Let's begin. My dear friends, every once in a while, someone will ask me, how do you come up with the topics of your Sunday teachings? Let me tell you, sometimes the topic comes to me when I'm reading something. An idea just kind of jumps out at me, and I know that I am meant to share it. Or sometimes I'm just quiet, and I get an intuition out of the blue. Of course, we know that the blue is really our soul spirit. So out of that blue, my soul spirit, an idea comes to me. And again, I know that I am meant to share it with you. And then sometimes, as in the case of today's teaching, I listen to you. I listen to you. I hear you talking about how you are growing in awareness. And I feel that your growth is not only inspirational to me, but also needs to be shared with others. Thus, the topic of today's teaching is you. You are ascending. And quite frankly, how we are all ascending together. So let's begin with some words that every parent loves to hear. Every once in a while, one of your kids might say the following words to you. Mom or Dad, you were right. You were right. You told them something that really helped them in their lives. Or they might say, thank you for guiding me even when I was resistant. Isn't that nice to hear? They might even say, I appreciated your discipline. Or sometimes you just see your children telling their children the same things you said to them. And without saying, I told you so, you just smile and you realize that you did a pretty good job raising your kids. In a similar way, a spiritual parent, a spiritual teacher loves to look at the progress of their spiritual children, loves to see the progress they are making. And it's really wonderful to see the growth in the members of Now Creations. And it is precisely this growth that I want to share with you today. There have been 3 comments made recently that warrant not only the comment itself, but also an expanded teaching concerning that comment. And again, under the title of today's teaching, that you are ascending in consciousness. The first comment is such a true and powerful one. One of our members recently said that they have come to the conclusion that each one of us is on our own personal soul journey, and it is vital to develop your own personal spiritual life. I just want to repeat that. One of our members has come to the conclusion that each one of us is on our own personal soul journey, and it is vital to develop your own personal spiritual life. So true, so true. In these comments, I would just suggest you warrant 2 additional comments on my part. The first was made actually by the member herself. She came to the further conclusion that each one of her family members, get this, that each one of her family members, as well as her own children, are on their own journey as well. The implication that I got from her was that she no longer saw herself as a fixer. She no longer saw herself as the fixer of the family's drama, but that each soul will fix themselves in the midst of their life's journey. What an understanding that each soul will fix itself, just as that person fixed herself. It was quite clear that she would no longer try to fix another person's drama, and certainly not try to control the fix. Would she assist where she could? Of course. Assist, yes. Fix, no. Assist, yes. Control, definitely not. Obviously, this person has come to realize the importance of one's own soul journey. No one knows her except her, which now leads me to the second comment. The fact of the matter is that not only is each person on their own soul journey, but also that each person must take the responsibility for their soul's journey because no one else can do it for them. They're on their own soul journey. You must come to know your own inner direction, for only you can take your inward journey. Oh yes, there's a lot of people who will try to tell you what you should be doing, but only you know you. And only everyone else knows themselves. This person has accepted her responsibility of following her inner guidance and allowing others to do the same. I so applaud her, and I so applaud so many of you who are doing the very same thing. You have taken the time. You've taken the time to question the assumptions that are now outdated. You've taken the time to be really curious about what is real. And you have come to take the time to know yourself in a way that you are now expanding even more. You are ascending because you realize that your soul journey is up to you. Such a beautiful understanding of life. The second example. The second comment that someone made recently is that their spiritual life is becoming easier. The spiritual life is becoming easier. Again, this is quite a comment, that spiritual living is becoming easier. Two comments, I believe, are in order here. The first comment is that I certainly agree that our spiritual life is becoming easier, especially as we practice our spirituality more faithfully. But this comment does not mean that our everyday lives are necessarily becoming easier, and it would be very short-sighted to think so. Yes, you'll still have to deal with many of the same problems that are part of our daily fare, from dealing with the dramas of family members and friends to dealing with your own concerns, dealing with healthcare issues, all the way to computer problems. Life continues to happen and often seems messy at any given moment. The second comment. So what's changed? What's changed? How has life, in a sense, gotten easier? I think that what has changed, what has gotten easier, is how you now deal with life. Let me explain. Rather than too quickly being immersed in the drama, we now have a new check-in point. We have a new reference point in our lives. I can't overestimate this too much. We have a new check-in point. The new reference point in what is making life easier is that instead of first dealing with the dramas of life, we first check in with the guidance of our soul spirit. Rather than reacting too quickly, we take that moment to go within and we realize what is important and what is not. Many things just don't matter with this new reference point of your soul spirit. It just doesn't matter if the cap is on the toothpaste. It just doesn't matter if everything just isn't so. What does matter is that you are dealing with the situation from the guidance of your soul spirit. What does matter is that you are looking realistically at what is in front of you. What does matter is that you desire to be loving and kind, and yet intelligent and smart. What does matter is that you know that things will work out for you as you follow the guidance of your Holy Spirit. You have a new reference point in your life. You are ascending. You are allowing your soul spirit to guide you. You are ascending, and the results of that ascension are obvious. Not nearly so much worry, but a gentle trust that all is working out as it should for you and for others. You are ascending. You worry less and you trust more. Your life has now become your spiritual life. Quite an observation. Your life has now become your spiritual life. You know that this is true. Which now leads me to the third comment. But before I share this third comment made by one of our members, let me recall the teachings of our good friends, Plato and Jesus. Plato taught that the most important thing in life, is to know and become like the good, his word for God. Nothing is more important than coming to know and become like the good. It is just the most important thing to know in life. Such wisdom, to know and become like the good, which is exactly what you're doing. And then, of course, Jesus teaches us that he and the Father are one. I think you know where I'm going with this third comment by one of our members. She said, I am beginning to feel that I and God are one energy. Let me say that again. I'm beginning to feel that I and God are one energy. She is ascending. This realization that God and I are one energy, one spirit, is exactly what Plato and Jesus meant by saying that, well, the most important thing in life is to know this truth, that you and God are one. Your spirit, your conscious soul spirit, and the God spirit are one. That your energy, your spirit, is now understood as that God energy, that God spirit. And I trust that you're being able to say the very same thing to yourself. That yes, my energy, my spirit has risen above the little me. And now I can honestly say that my spirit and the God spirit, my energy and the God energy, are the Holy Spirit of all energy. So may I suggest to you these following 5 qualities of identifying yourself with the God energy, as our member said. Again, you might want to take a few notes. The first quality, very simply, is that this understanding contains a very profound truth. It is this. Maybe you want to jot this down. The self we are is God as us. The self, capital S. The self we are is God as us. The self we are is God as us. You'll notice that this truth starts not so much with God as you, but rather you, yourself, as God. When you move beyond the little you and begin to ascend to your truer self, you realize that yourself, your true self, is God as you. Course in Miracles language, you have not left your source. The second quality. The second quality builds on the first one. The second quality is that the self, you, are a complete experience. The self as you, as the God Spirit, is a genuine experience that involves the totality of your being. There are no loose ends dangling out there. There's nothing else that enters the picture. You feel absolutely whole and complete when you take the moment to understand yourself as the God Spirit. I could even use the word, it's the wholest and completest you've ever felt in your life. And I would even suggest that this experience of the God Spirit, this experience of the God Spirit is you, is the most intense and more real than any other experiences that you have at your ordinary levels of human consciousness. Your connection with the God Spirit has superseded all of the other stuff. You have qualitatively risen into that newer conscious awareness of what is fulfilling just in itself. I can sit in this energy and be fulfilled simply in it. Quite an accomplishment. This inner fulfillment, this completeness, leads to the third quality. You begin to see the world differently, not from simply the world's view of itself, but rather from the view of the soul spirit. Rather than seeking to change the world, you again, in Course's Miracles language, you seek to change how you see the world. You see the world differently. You see it from the flawless comprehension of the soul. You see what's going on from the flawless comprehension of the soul spirit. You now see clearly from the soul. You're no longer duped or fooled by things in the world. You no longer, in a sense, are caught in their superficialities. You see clearly. The fourth quality easily emerges to the devotee of God, to the one who now sees themselves as a soul spirit, that enlightened spark that is within each one of us. And might I suggest that that fourth quality is just simply a sense of joy, a sense of inner contentment. I'm happy. Although several challenges remain, they are truly seen as, well, experiences. Truly, truly. These experiences will always lead then to a further discovery of the self. What an incredible joy there is to not only feel that what's going on in your life is going to be working out for you, but to be confident of the unfolding of your future. Not so much that you know all of the details of the future, but quite confident that your future will be based on the well-being of the direction of your own soul spirit. This is big. The fifth point is best presented by a question. Do you have to change your life situation now that you see yourself as the God Spirit? The answer is no, of course not. One simply needs to remain true to the role they play in the daily unfolding of life. Although you'll play that role in a much more elevated fashion of goodness and love, not just to your edification, but certainly to the edification of others as well. You certainly do not have to withdraw from the world, but you will be more service-oriented to everyone, seeing them as you now see yourself, as the presence of God, as you, whether they know it or not. You will become, in the words of Carolyn Mace, a modern-day mystic, joyfully showing up in the world as the God Spirit. In conclusion, I trust that you've enjoyed listening to the comments of these three particular members of Now Creations. Quite frankly, I feel that any of you could have made these very same comments. The first one, that you realize that you have your own personal soul destiny, and you know, everyone else does too, even your kids. Don't forget, you were the kid of your parents at one time. Secondly, that life in the spirit is easier. And lastly, that the self we are is God as us. Oh my. Yes, at times the learning process of the soul is sometimes slow, but because we have been persevering and because we are consistent in the process, we have been accelerating as well. You are ascending. You are becoming the way of a new era of awareness. We are ascending. We are becoming the way, leading the way in a new era of awareness. And we're doing this together. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Let's begin by just saying, what fun, what absolute fun, just to be in this awareness. Just so fun to be in this awareness. And let's begin as we normally do by simply focusing on the breath. Just breathing in and breathing out and allowing the breath to do what it does. Let it settle your body. Let it reduce your mental chatter. And most of all, bring you, the inner you, your soul self, to the fore. Please begin. And would you simply say to yourself, well, here I am. Here I am. This is me. This is the inner me. It's not my body. It's not my personality. This is me. This is my soul. So and would you take a moment just to locate that soul self within your physicality, just placing your hand over your sternum and realizing that as you do so, again, you are not the body nor the mind, but you are the inner you that moves your personality self. Again, would you just say to yourself, this is me. You're very conscious. This is me. This is me. And would you now say to yourself, ask yourself this question: who knows me except me? You're the only one that knows yourself. You're the only one that knows yourself. And please don't pretend you know someone else, or you might know some of their habits or mannerisms. That just as no one knows you, you don't know really anyone else. So it's incumbent on you to create your spiritual development. You're on your own soul journey. And so are your kids and grandkids. Hopefully you didn't forget that you were a kid or a grandkid at one time. You're wasting your time if you think you're going to fix someone else. Best way to understand that is, who could fix you except you? Assist, of course. That's what we're doing in Now Creations and with people of like mind and soul. The second point we talked about this morning is that life is getting easier. Our spiritual life is getting easier. And might I suggest that the reason why our spiritual life is getting easier is because we really do have a new reference point. We have a new reference point. That reference point is the inner you, your soul, directed by the Holy Spirit, which is the wisdom of God itself. Your soul spirit is your new reference point that is guiding you. So no matter what is going on in life, you have this new reference point from which you can view what is occurring. You just see things so much more clearly. You just understand them. It's not just that you know how to respond, but you also know when to respond. You're pretty smart. You don't wade in where angels fear to tread. You just don't do that anymore. Before you react, you observe. And then you check in with your reference point. Isn't it nice to know that your old habits no longer rule you? Life is getting easier. And then that third quality, oh my gosh, that third comment. Myself is God as me. Oh my. You have ascended to this level of your spiritual consciousness. Your self is God as you. Right now, just right now, I know you feel whole and complete. You feel filled up from within. No loose ends. The God Spirit has become your sense of self from which you observe, check in with, and respond. You become the modern day mystic. A smile on your face, love in your heart, just doing your everyday thing with a great sense of love and kindness, bringing heaven to earth in the very midst of your life. For your life now is God as you. You are ascending beautifully.
Now The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes an illusion, seen through spirit, you are one. I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor
It's got to bring a smile to your face, huh? May I just suggest today that you be happy and content with the presence within you. It is becoming more and more you. You are ascending in the God Spirit. We are ascending together in the God Spirit. That is worthy of celebration. Namaste, dear ones. Namaste.